We are just about halfway through the NBA season, a time where some teams have it all figured out and are fighting for top seeding in the playoffs, while others are struggling greatly, trying to figure out whether a change to the lineup or a big trade is needed. Welcome to Penn State Sports Night. I'm Michael Landis, joined alongside Kenny Ojeikere and Julia Henry, and we are here to deliver our takes on which teams and players have been the most surprising and disappointing this season. I want to start off, there's a lot of different teams that really have lived up to expectations, some that have fallen off. So Julia, I'm going to swing it over to you first. What is the team that has been the most surprising to you this season?
I'm going to go with the Minnesota Timberwolves. They're currently 30-12 on the season, and really, this was kind of supposed to be their season, but right now they're the number one seed in the Western Conference, which I think is a shock to most. They have a number 19th ranked offense, which is their weakest point, but they have the number one ranked defense at this point through the season, and this season's working out the way it should have. Karl Anthony Towns last season missed 4 months with a leg injury, and that really hindered them as a team, but now on his return, they look excellent. Him, Anthony Edwards, Rudy Gobert, the trio's really working out the way it should be, and the only concern to watch in this second half is their offensive production. They're 21st in the league, averaging 113 points a game, which isn't great. I mean, it's worked out. They're in the number one seed, but that could cause some issues later on. And the other thing to watch is they're very high ranked in three-point percentage, but they're 26th in the league at three-point attempts. So when they take them, they make them. But the issue for them is taking them. And they also had the second hardest strength of schedule to start off the season, and they've ended up as the number one seed. So really, they should coast through the rest of the season and stay as the number one seed as their schedule gets easier and it gets harder for some other teams.
Well, I'd like to say that the Orlando Magic have truly surprised me. Jamal Mosley has this team on a tear. While the record doesn't reflect that currently, they were the third seed over a month ago, right? And now they sit at 8th seed, but that's only because Franz Wagner is out. He missed a few games, so that hurt them. Franz Wagner, he's a guy that averages 20 plus. But what's so special about this team is we're seeing positionless basketball more and more today. And you're seeing wings who initiate offense, and they move like a point guard. They're the ones running the offense. You see Paolo Banchero, you see Jalen Suggs, and you see Markelle Fultz. But I'm so big on Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner because these two dudes are 6'10", and they handle the ball like nobody else. And Paolo, I think he deserves an all-star nod. He's averaging 22, 8, and 5. 22, 7, and 5, excuse me. But he's a monster, and he initiates an offense. He knows how to pass. He has vision. People gave him comparisons similar to Bron, and that's because of his vision. You look at Jalen Suggs. He's an elite point of attack defender. His perimeter defense is almost close to Drew Holiday and Marcus Smart. Just give him a few more years. But the potential is really there, and he's a young guy who we saw. People were calling him a bust, but no, just give him some time, and now he's found his role. He's averaging 13 a game on top of that phenomenal defense. And Markelle Fultz, he missed a few games, but he's back now doing his thing. We thought he was going to be a bust earlier, but he's contributing to this team highly. This team has a lot of guards. You see Anthony Black, who they drafted in this rookie class, as well as Cole Anthony off of the bench. He averages 13 a game, which is amazing for them. And they have dogs on that roster, guys like Mo Wagner, guys like Goga Bitadze, who replaced Wendell Carter Jr. when he was hurt, and they came in with a dog mentality, and they really set the tone. So I'm really surprised at the Magic because this team is, again, 5th in defensive rating. They have a tough-nosed defense, and they have a great unit. Their future is going to be amazing.
Yeah, Kenny, and that last thing you mentioned, just about their youth is really the most important thing about the Magic. They're so young, and really just we're waiting for that one guy to step up. And Banchero has been doing amazing this season. I mean, he's the one that's really surged this team into a playoff position. Like you said, Wagner, when he comes back, they have a really good opportunity. I mean, he stepped up this year. A lot of guys are kind of finding their own because Banchero is creating that space and giving them the opportunity to all become positionless. And Julio, the same thing with the Timberwolves. I think a lot of people thought those expectations were going to happen last season, with some of the injuries that kind of got messed up. But this is what people were expecting out of that Rudy Gobert trade. And now finally it's coming into place, and the Timberwolves have the 1 seed. But now, guys, I'm going to switch it over to a team that has been really disappointing this season to you guys. So, Kenny, I'm going to swing it back to you on this one.
Hey, Landis, I know you see the smile on my face because I've been waiting for this day to come. It's safe to say the Warriors dynasty is finally over. For as long as I can remember, they dominated basketball, but they are not there no more. 12th seed in a heavy, loaded Western Conference, and they're 4 games below 500. This age has been killing them. While Curry is still Curry, I'll admit. Klay Thompson, he's starting to slow down. He's averaging the lowest points per game. He hasn't done that since his second season. Is really low. Career lows in field goal and three-point percentage. We haven't seen Klay shoot like this before. And you bring in Chris Paul for Jordan Poole, and Chris Paul, he hasn't been what he was. We know he's old as well. Chris Paul, we know him to be a great facilitator, but he hasn't fit that role well. This is the second lowest assist numbers that he's put up in his career, and he's averaging single digits in points per game for the first time. So Chris Paul, that fit is not meshing well. Don't even be surprised if they move him before the trade deadline. And on top of that, Wiggins, he's been slow as well. He came in during the trade deadline a few years back and was arguably the second best player on that championship team, if you ask me. So when Wiggins is shooting terribly, career lows in field goal and three-point percentage as well, and on top of that, he's been in and out of the lineup because of his poor play. So I expect Wiggins to maybe improve, but Wiggins has been another big reason to why this team has been disappointing me. And then on top of that, Draymond Green, we know he's been a distraction. He missed 5 games with the Rudy Gobert, and then he missed another 16 games because of the Nurkic situation. So this team isn't really focused. They have a lot of distractions going on, and their record shows why.
I'm going to go with the Phoenix Suns, and they were this team who were supposed to have this super team with Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and it's something that sounds really great in idea, but I feel like it's something that just never works out in practice, and they've really struggled. The issue with them mainly is they just haven't all been playing together. Bradley Beal's played just 18 games this season due to injuries, and when they all play together, the three of them average a combined 73 points, but when they don't have a short bench, and it's just really been a struggle for them throughout this whole season to find and maintain that offensive production with Bradley Beal kind of in and out, and with the other duo just taking the ball and having that short bench.
Yeah, guys, I love both these picks, and specifically for the Suns, it's almost just like Brooklyn all over again. We saw what happened with Kevin Durant being a part of that big three with James Harden and Kyrie Irving. Unfortunately, Suns team just doesn't have enough depth on it, and you see it's clear. They're all great scorers. Whenever one of them gets the ball in their hand, they're going to be a bucket. But when you don't have that depth, that defense to be able to help you in there, Nurkic is getting a little bit older. He can still be solid in the paint, but he becomes a little bit of a liability on defense. Then Kenny, I'm happy to say that the Warriors dynasty is finally over. The aging is there. Steve Kerr's small ball lineup just isn't clearly working anymore. And when you're not hitting the shots, when you're an older team, everything is falling downhill. So maybe trading Jordan Poole was really the ending of that dynasty. And guys, I'm going to swing it over quickly for the last one here for a most surprising MVP or MIP candidate that you guys have. Julie, I'll give it back to you.
I'm going to pick Tyrese Haliburton, point guard of the Pacers, which for MVP, which in all practicality isn't likely to happen, but I think he's a player to really watch in the second half of the season. His highest career average, he's averaging about 23 points a game, and there's been 7 games this season where he's had that many points, at least 12 assists, and 0 turnovers. And that's really been the key. He's a point guard who doesn't turn the ball over, and that's really helped them. And with the All-Star game being in Indianapolis this year too, hopefully that's fun for him. He's talked about re-entering that three-point shooting competition, winning it this year. And I just think odds are he's not going to win it when you look at Embiid and Jokic, but he's just someone to really keep in the back of the mind for MVP.
Well, this guy isn't going to drop 70 points like Joel Embiid, but he is a rising star in this league for sure. We saw Scottie Barnes win Rookie of the Year, but he had a kind of a mediocre second season. But now he's back, and he's better than ever. The Raptors they traded away Pascal Siakam for a reason. They think that Scottie Barnes can take over this first option and initiate the offense. This guy's another, again, positionless basketball. He's a 6'7" wing that can run the point guard role. He's averaging around 20 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists. And he's a wing defender. He's going to be a two-way guy. I think that he can be something similar to Kawhi Leonard. He needs to pick up his offensive game, but I think that he has the ability to become a two-way superstar in this league.
Yeah, both these guys are absolute young stars, and they're going to be the face of the league soon, eventually, for these teams. But I guess we'll have to wait and see how the rest of the season finishes out. With the NBA season being halfway done, many teams and players still have the opportunity to turn the ship around and finish the second half of the season strong. That's going to do it for this edition of Penn State Sports Night. For Kenny Ojeikere and Julia Henry, I'm Michael Landis. Thank you, and have a great night, everyone.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning into this edition of Penn State Sports Night.
For more content like this, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, give us a like, and follow our socials down below.
And as always, we are
Penn State Sports Night.